إِذَا فَسَدَ أَهْلُ الشَّامِ فَلَا خَيْرَ فِيكُمْ, predicted by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he said, Tuba lisham. Then Prophet said in Tirmizi, Bukhari and Muslim, some other muhaddithin quoted that Prophet said, Waylul lil Arab min sharri maqtarab. How can you elaborate in the situation of Gaza that people have been killed, innocent people? There is a bloodbath in open air prison and open air graveyard, you can say, Gaza. What people in the West do think about Gaza, common people, apart from the policy makers and rulers? What is the solution of Gaza in the light of these quotations quoted by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
So in the West, the issue of Gaza, it changes between whether you want to think about people in Europe and people in United States of America and Canada. So in Europe, before, there was a general disapproval of Israel's policies from the wider public against the people, the Palestinians in the West Bank and in Gaza. But recently, there has been a massive, we call sea change. So in the United States of America, there is even right-wing conservative voices who were previously were positively supporting the state of Israel, have changed their position. And even the ones who won't outright condemn Israel for their activities are saying, why are we as Americans having to pay for the bills of a foreign country? Why are we paying for them to do all these things or what have you? Why should they depend on us? Why don't we keep this money for ourselves? So there's a massive change happening in the West on the ground, and even very slowly, of course, the rhetoric of the leaders is changing. We see Germany's politicians changing their tone on Israel, which is a very big thing, because after World War II, the idea of the guilt that the Germans had, and the fact that they heavily repressed criticism of Israel, because many Zionists said that to criticize Israel is to be anti-Semitic, to hate Jews. And now that's changed in terms of the German politicians. Even they are saying that Israel's going too far. We need to have rights for the Palestinians. So the over a year's bombardment of Gaza and the escalation of the demolishing of houses and homes and killing people, even the West Bank, where there isn't Hamas based there in the West Bank, has really galvanized the world to actually begin criticizing the state of Israel and what it's doing, and demanding that at the very least Palestinians have a state for themselves. Some people are saying it should be just one state with everyone have equal rights, like South Africa before. Under Nelson Mandela's campaign was to create equal rights because the majority were black South Africans, but they were not given a right to vote because the minority white South Africans wanted to be in power. So there's a call for sanctions in Europe. It's not so strong just at the moment, but there's a call for recognizing the state of Palestine. So there's a lot of changes happening in the West, because despite the best false arguments of Zionist advocates and the people who are public Zionists and advocate for Israel, the pictures speak 1,000 words, and the endless pictures, horrific pictures of decapitated babies, of dead bodies crushed in the buildings of Gaza, people shot, x-rays of children having bullets in their skulls. This endless stream of human misery that people are witnessing speaks far louder than any of the advocates of Zionism and Israel could speak, and that's gradually created this change. It shouldn't have taken this long, but it has taken this time. So that's what's happening on that side. But I think that Muslims should seek our own solution. I call it the Salahuddin peace process, or the Sultan Baybar's peace process, where you can't expect people who are massacring Muslims to stop doing so from the goodness of their own hearts. There's no benefit in them for allowing Palestinians to live on that land. There's no benefit for the RSS and the BJP to cease harassing Muslims in India, unless pressure is put on them. And of course, and let's not forget, the Gaza of the East, Kashmir.
Kashmir is the Gaza of East.
Yes, or the Palestine of the East, as some people have said. No one's going to liberate the Kashmiris in Indian-occupied Kashmir.
But do you think
unless
that
we Muslims do so?
Judaism is not behind the genocide of Palestinian people? What is the difference between Judaism and Zionism? As well as Hinduism is not behind the Muslim genocide in Kashmir, but Hindutva philosophy. So there is a deep connection between Hindutva and Judaism?
Well, so this is where you have a religion and you have ultra-nationalism or nationalism bordering on fascism.
Yeah.
So the two are not the same. So Judaism is the laws of Moses, as it was called. This is a way of life for many Jews for centuries, and the dominant idea amongst Jews was that when they left Palestine over 2,000 years ago, roughly 2,000 years ago, and they will never have a state or resurrect the kingdom of Moses or the Mosaic laws until the Messiah comes back, as they believe. And so for them, the mainstream opinion 100 years ago amongst Jews was not to be political at all, but just to wait for the Messiah. But Zionists said no. Zionists were actually, at that time, mostly atheists and socialists. The ones who set up the State of Israel were not religious Jews. They didn't believe in God, many of them. But they just said, we are an ethnic group, we are a nation, we deserve our own state based on our nation. Which is a weird thing because throughout the world, Jews were viewed to be part of the national group they were. They just had a different religion. So English Jews are English.
Yeah.
They just follow Judaism, not Christianity. French Jews are French. They just follow Judaism, not Christianity. But Zionism said, no, these Jews are really part of a separate nation and they deserve a separate state for us in Palestine. And of course, the problem was that they wanted a democracy, but they were not the majority of the people in Palestine. So how do you solve that problem? If you are a nationalist and you don't have any morals, you don't really care, you kick out the Palestinians and you wipe them out and in different parts if you can, push them out in any way you can. And that's what happened in 1947, 1948, happened again in 1967 when they pushed many from the West Bank and so on. And then it's happening again in Gaza and actually has been happening very slowly in the West Bank. It never really stopped. It just happened at a much more slower rate so that it wouldn't arouse international outrage. And same thing with the Hindutva. There's no such thing as the Hindu religion. Actually, that's actually a British creation. They just came in and said, okay, well, we see these Muslims. We've seen your religion before elsewhere. So we know that your religion is not from here. And there are Christian Indians. Okay, you're Christian. This is not a native religion. So all the other religions, superstitions, beliefs, which are mutually contradictory, we'll just call all of you Hindus.